Yeah, I tend to keep myself to myself a lot. I'm not on social media in any shape or form.
For decades, Rowan Atkinson, the legendary actor behind the globally beloved character Mr. Bean, remained famously private. The quirky, silent genius who could make millions laugh with nothing more than a raised eyebrow and a twitching face, rarely spoke about his personal life or the wild rumors that surrounded him. Yet now, at the age of 70, Atkinson has finally broken his silence, confirming truths that fans have speculated about for years. From romantic relationships to behind-the-scenes struggles, the mysteries surrounding Mr. Bean have fueled gossip and endless online debate. People have wondered, how much of the character reflects Atkinson's real personality? Were the rumors about his personal life true? And how did he manage to maintain such a private existence in a world obsessed with celebrity? Now, after decades of silence, the man himself is setting the record straight in this revealing confession. Atkinson discusses the stories fans whispered, the controversies that never made headlines, and the truths behind the myths of Mr. Bean. It's a rare glimpse into the life of a man whose career has brought joy to millions, but whose personal world has remained shrouded in secrecy until now. This is the story of Rowan Atkinson at 70. The humor, the humanity, and the long-awaited confirmation of rumors that have intrigued the world for decades. Rowan Atkinson is a name synonymous with laughter across the globe. For over 40 years, his creation, Mr. Bean, has delighted audiences with absurd antics, silent gags, and impeccable timing. From his first awkward encounter with a postman to chaotic shopping trips and disastrous swimming pool escapades, Mr. Bean's world is a universe where the ridiculous is routine, and every mundane situation becomes an unforgettable comedy. Yet, despite his worldwide fame, the man behind the character has remained enigmatic, private, and intensely guarded. Atkinson's silence about his personal life fueled decades of rumors. Fans speculated endlessly. The eccentricity of Mr. Bean, was it inspired by his real personality? Were his off-screen behaviors as peculiar as those of his bumbling alter ego? Questions about his romantic relationships, family life, and personal challenges circulated widely, but Atkinson rarely addressed them. To him, the boundary between performer and private individual was sacred, and he maintained it with meticulous care. Now, at 70, Atkinson has chosen to break that silence. In a candid interview that stunned fans worldwide, he acknowledged that many of the long-held rumors were, in fact, true. It wasn't a confession in the sensational sense, but a measured revelation, offering glimpses into the life of a man whose comedic brilliance has often overshadowed his humanity. He spoke of the pressures of embodying a character beloved by millions, of the personal sacrifices required to sustain the persona, and of the private joys and struggles that shaped him along the way. He admitted, for instance, that some aspects of Mr. Bean's awkwardness and timing were inspired by his own youthful observations and quirks. The nervous gestures, sudden twitches, and exaggerated facial expressions were rooted not in invention alone, but in a keen awareness of human behavior, and a reflection of Atkinson's own meticulous attention to detail. Fans who had assumed Bean was pure fantasy discovered instead that he was, in part, a distillation of Atkinson himself, his observations, his curiosities, and his private sense of humor. Atkinson also addressed the rumors surrounding his personal relationships. While he had long remained private, he confirmed that some speculated romances did indeed occur, though they were carefully shielded from public scrutiny. His desire for privacy was not secrecy for secrecy's sake. It was an attempt to preserve normalcy in a life constantly in the spotlight. He spoke of the challenge of balancing career and personal life, explaining how the pressures of fame often made intimacy and genuine connection difficult to navigate. Beyond relationships, Atkinson discussed the challenges of maintaining a career that depended so heavily on physical comedy and timing. Years of performance, travel, and the constant expectation to innovate placed a quiet strain on him. And he revealed for the first time how exhausting the work could be. Even when it was joyous, Mr. Bean was a character that brought laughter worldwide. Yet behind the laughter was a man who invested immense energy, precision, and dedication into every gesture, glance, and expression. The 70-year-old Atkinson's reflections are both revealing and poignant. They remind fans that while Mr. Bean is universal and timeless, Rowan Atkinson himself is human. subject to doubt, desire, and the same vulnerabilities as anyone else. The rumors, which for decades seemed outrageous or unconfirmed, gain context when seen through this lens of experience, discipline, and careful choice. Atkinson's life, like his work, is a balance of meticulous control and human imperfection. As he begins to share more of his story, it becomes clear that the man behind Mr. Bean has lived a life of extraordinary creativity, personal restraint, and thoughtful secrecy. The world has laughed with him for decades, but now, for the first time, we glimpse the life he has led quietly, carefully, and deliberately, a life as rich, complex, and surprising as the character that made him immortal. For decades, Rowan Atkinson's private life was a source of endless speculation. Fans and tabloids alike tried to decipher the man behind Mr. Bean, and countless rumors circulated about his relationships, personality, and habits. Some were dismissed as absurd. Others seemed plausible but unverifiable. Now, at 70, Atkinson has finally confirmed several of these long-standing whispers, offering clarity on a life that was often shrouded in secrecy. One of the most persistent rumors involved his romantic life. For years, stories of secret relationships and discreet encounters fueled speculation, yet Atkinson never publicly acknowledged them. In his recent statements, he confirmed that some of these relationships did occur, though always carefully kept away from the public eye. Privacy was paramount. Being recognized worldwide made even mundane gestures, a dinner, a walk, or a quiet outing, potential fodder for headlines. He explained that discretion wasn't a matter of shame, but of necessity, a way to protect both himself and the people close to him from unwanted scrutiny. Atkinson also addressed another rumor, that aspects of Mr. Bean were inspired by his own quirks and personal experiences. Many had assumed the character was entirely fictional, an exaggerated comic invention. Atkinson revealed that while Mr. Bean is certainly a comedic creation, the subtleties, the facial tics, the nervous gestures, the awkward pauses were drawn from real-life observations. Some were inspired by his own interactions, childhood memories, and meticulous study of human behavior. Fans who had believed Bean was pure absurdity now discovered a layer of authenticity. Rowan Atkinson had poured fragments of his own personality into every silent expression and comical mishap. Another revelation concerned the behind-the-scenes challenges of portraying Mr. Bean. While the character seems effortless on screen, Atkinson admitted that the role required incredible precision, timing, and stamina. The physical comedy, silent storytelling, and intricate visual gags demanded preparation that few viewers could appreciate. He confirmed that maintaining the balance between humor and subtlety was exhausting, and that he often spent hours perfecting gestures and movements that lasted mere seconds on camera. It was a labor of love, but one that carried real pressure compounded by the expectation that each new episode or performance must outdo the last. Atkinson also addressed the rumors surrounding his personality off-screen. For years, speculation suggested that the shy, reserved man behind the public persona mirrored the awkwardness of Mr. Bean. Atkinson confirmed that he does have a reserved nature, though he is not as socially awkward as Bean. The character exaggerates traits for comedic effect. Yet, it also allowed Atkinson to explore subtle aspects of human behavior in a way that connected with audiences worldwide. The line between fiction and reality, he admitted, has always been intentionally blurred, leaving fans guessing for decades. Finally, Atkinson spoke about the long-term impact of being Mr. Bean. While the character brought him worldwide fame and immeasurable success, it also created challenges, typecasting, personal scrutiny, and the constant balancing act between public expectation and private life. The rumors, he explained, often arose from a combination of public fascination and misunderstanding, the natural consequence of being a figure the world adored yet never truly knew. By confirming these truths, Atkinson offers a rare glimpse behind the curtain. He does not seek to sensationalize. Instead, he provides context and humanity to a life long misunderstood. The man who made millions laugh with nothing but a twitching eyebrow is, in fact, profoundly thoughtful, deeply private, and acutely aware of the world's gaze. As fans digest these revelations, it becomes clear that Rowan Atkinson's story is not just about comedy, but about the life of a man who has lived under a global spotlight, navigated rumor and speculation with care, and finally, at 70, Chosen to set the record straight, Rowan Atkinson has long been admired for his comedic genius. But what few people understood was the complexity of his private life, a life that, until now, remained largely hidden from public view. At 70, he chose to confront the rumors, some of which were more sensational than others, and provide clarity about the man behind the globally beloved Mr. Bean. His revelations have left fans both stunned and deeply appreciative of his honesty. One of the most startling confirmations involve stories of secrecy and discretion surrounding his personal relationships. For years, tabloids hinted at private romances and discreet connections with people in his inner circle. Atkinson admitted that these stories were true in part. He had been careful to shield his private life from public scrutiny. The secrecy was not born of shame, but necessity. Living under constant media attention meant that even minor personal moments could become headlines. "I valued privacy," he said, "not because I had anything to hide, but because intimacy should remain personal, free from public intrusion." Atkinson also reflected on the rumors suggesting that his real-life personality mirrored aspects of Mr. Bean. While the silent, awkward, and mischievous traits were certainly amplified for comedic effect, he acknowledged that elements of his observational humor, subtle timing, and awareness of human behavior were genuine. These traits were honed over decades of careful study, blending real-life inspiration with exaggerated comedic expression. Fans who had assumed Bean was purely fictional were surprised to learn that the character was, in many ways, a magnified reflection of Atkinson's mind and meticulous attention to detail. Another revelation concerned the immense pressures of maintaining a global comedic persona. Mr. Bean may appear effortless on screen, but Atkinson confirmed that the precision required was exhausting. Each gesture, pause, and expression was deliberately calibrated, often after countless hours of rehearsal. Atkinson admitted that the stress of upholding perfection, coupled with the expectation that each performance surpassed the last, was a hidden challenge few fans could ever appreciate. Fame, while rewarding, was also a heavy burden, one that required constant vigilance, creativity, and discipline. Perhaps most surprising was Atkinson's acknowledgement of the mental and emotional toll of living as a character the world adored. He spoke candidly about how intense fan fascination could be overwhelming, sometimes isolating him from ordinary life. Public curiosity and rumor often blurred the line between persona and person, forcing him to navigate fame with caution. Yet he maintained a remarkable balance, finding humor and joy in his work while fiercely protecting his personal life. Finally, Atkinson reflected on what it meant to confirm the rumors at this stage in life. For him, it was not about scandal, but about honesty and legacy. He wanted people to understand the realities of life behind the laughter, the dedication, the discipline, and the humanity that fueled decades of iconic performances. By addressing these stories openly, he provides fans with an authentic portrait of the man who has spent a lifetime making the world laugh. Rowan Atkinson's revelations remind us that even the most beloved public figures are human, navigating the same desires, struggles, and pressures as everyone else. The rumors, once sources of speculation, now provide insight into the life of a man who is thoughtful, private, and remarkably self-aware. Mr. Bean will always remain timeless. But now we also understand the personal depth and deliberate care behind the character. Atkinson's willingness to speak openly at 70 offers not only clarity but perspective, a lesson in balancing fame, privacy, and humanity. It is a story of truth finally emerging after decades of speculation, providing fans a deeper appreciation of the life behind the laughter and the man who made the world smile. At 70, Rowan Atkinson's revelations about his life behind Mr. Bean mark a turning point in how the world understands the man who has brought joy to millions. For decades, he maintained a careful separation between the public persona and private self, ensuring that the character remained timeless while his personal life remained largely invisible. Now, after decades of speculation, he has offered fans a candid glimpse into the realities of fame, creativity, and personal experience that shaped both him and his legendary character. The confirmation of long circulated rumors provides context to a life lived under extraordinary scrutiny. From discreet relationships to private struggles, Atkinson explained that much of what fans imagined was partially true, yet always carefully managed. The secrecy was not an attempt to deceive, but a necessary act of self-preservation in an industry where personal details are relentlessly dissected. In revealing these truths, Atkinson emphasizes the importance of boundaries, discretion, and the deliberate choice to protect one's personal world, while still sharing a gift with the public. Equally enlightening were his reflections on Mr. Bean as a character. While audiences often assumed Bean was pure fantasy, Atkinson confirmed that the character's nuances, the awkward pauses, subtle gestures, and silent expressions were deeply rooted in observation, personal quirks, and careful study of human behavior. Every twitch of an eyebrow and every clumsy stumble was meticulously crafted, balancing humor with authenticity. Fans now understand that the laughter inspired by Mr. Bean is not merely absurdity but the product of decades of careful attention to detail and creative precision. Atkinson also spoke about the pressures and challenges of sustaining a globally beloved persona. Fame, while gratifying, brought its own burdens: typecasting, constant public scrutiny, and the challenge of remaining innovative without exhausting the essence of the character. Behind the laughter, there were sacrifices of time, of privacy, and sometimes of personal freedom. Yet Atkinson's dedication ensured that Mr. Bean endured timeless and beloved, while he maintained control over his personal life. Perhaps most poignantly, Atkinson reflected on what it means to reconcile public perception with personal truth. For decades, rumors blurred the lines between myth and reality. By speaking openly, he restores balance, showing that the man who created universal laughter is human, thoughtful, private, and fully aware of the consequences of fame. The revelations provide not scandal, but understanding, insight into the discipline, creativity, and humanity behind one of the world's most iconic comedic figures. The legacy of Mr. Bean now carries a deeper resonance. Audiences can appreciate not only the hilarity and charm of the character, but also the extraordinary effort, intelligence, and personal reflection that make it enduring. Rowan Atkinson has demonstrated that fame need not erase privacy, that creativity can coexist with humanity, and that laughter, while universal, often emerges from the most careful, considered work behind the scenes. At 70, Atkinson's story is as much about resilience and discretion as it is about comedy. The rumors that fascinated the public for decades are finally contextualized, the mysteries clarified, and the man behind the mask honored for his integrity, wit, and vision. Mr. Bean will continue to make the world smile. But now, fans also understand the remarkable life, dedication, and humanity of the man who brought him to life. Rowan Atkinson's revelation is more than a confirmation of rumors. It is a testament to the enduring power of honesty, creativity, and the careful balancing of life, laughter, and legacy.